Hello, peace and blessings, everybody. Welcome back to another yoga practice. My name is Ben, and today we'll be moving through a total body Hatha yoga flow. I use the word Hatha yoga instead of vinyasa yoga, just to convey that we'll be moving at a bit of a slower and stronger pace versus vinyasa moves at a bit of a quicker and more rapid pace with the breath. Today's class is still a strong flow for the whole body. We're just moving a little bit slower, giving ourselves time to feel into each and every posture that we find in our bodies. Let's go ahead and get started in a down dog. I like to measure my down dog by coming into a plank position first, and then bending the knees and scooping the hips up and back. I do have one block with me today, but nothing is required in your practice. No props needed unless you want to. Give yourself about 5 breaths in this opening dog pose. Spread out your fingertips a little bit. Feel your knuckles on the mat to spread the weight around. I feel like often we dump the weight into the wrists, so feel your knuckles on the mat, feel your fingertips, and then feel a push through your armpits and your shoulders to distribute some of that weight from the hands. Involve the legs, so really feel a driving back of the hips via the strength of the legs. Go ahead and take a deep bend into the knees, look forward, and then lunge the right foot up to the top of the mat. Getting right into it today, drop the left knee down, sweep the arms up to the sky. Feel free to interlace the fingers and then bring the palms to cradle the back of the head. Bring the elbows in a little bit so that the elbows point up to the sky, and give yourself about 4 breaths. Continue to press top of your left foot down into the ground to create even deeper sensation, even deeper awareness. And it's okay if you feel tight right now. It's okay if you feel like you can't really get into that deep lunge. It's coming, right? We're just warming ourselves up, and we're just beginning our practice. Release out of this pose. Bring the fingertips down to the ground. Tuck the toes under behind you. Pull the hips back for pyramid. Try to keep your stance long. You can keep as much of a bend in your right knee as you want. Option to crawl the fingertips further forward. Think belly to thighs. Keep pulling the right hip back. And you might notice that on the screen, right? This is where I kind of naturally go, but then this is where I pull my hip back. It creates more leverage and more depth into the fold. One more breath in. Exhale out. Bend into the right knee and rise up to a high crescent lunge position. Arms sweep up to the sky, high onto the back toes. So if you feel your left heel sinking down to the ground behind you, try to lift your left heel up to find strength, and maybe that gives you more space to lengthen or deepen into your lunge. Bring the hands to your heart, lean forward. Warrior 3, come into your balance. You can keep a crouch in your right leg if you want. And today, try pointing the toes behind you. Pointing the toes isn't better than flexing the toes, but it's nice to do something with the left foot so that it brings our awareness all the way to the end of the pose. From here, rise all the way up to standing. Pull the left knee into the chest, one-legged Tadasana. Arms sweep up to the sky. And then slowly place the left foot back down on the ground. As the left foot lands, take a chair pose. Bend into the knees, sit back with the hips, sweep your arms up to the sky. Sit low into the pose. Apologies if you're getting some sound into the mic right now. It's very windy. The wind feels good for me, but it might be annoying to you, so my bad if that's annoying. Bring the hands to heart center. Stay low here. Begin to float the right foot off the ground, and then shoot the right leg back into a crouching warrior 3. This time, bring the hands down to the mat, land the right foot behind you, and sweep the left leg up to the sky for a 3-legged dog. From your 3-legged dog position, take an inhale. Exhale, left knee to nose, hips to the sky for a cheetah pose. So shift the weight forward, feel your knuckles on the mat, hips drive up to the sky, core lifts. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, cheetah, left knee in toward the nose. Lift your body up to the sky. One more time. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to nose, hips up to the sky. Inhale, three-legged dog. This time, step the left foot up to the top of the mat. Drop the right knee down onto the floor and rise up into your lunge, side number 2. Catch your breath. Let the upper body relax. Feel free to interlace your fingers, place the palms behind your head, lean the head into your palms, and find your lunge. I find that moving at a slower, mindful pace actually provides sometimes even greater opportunity to build some heat, to build some energy, and to stoke the fire a little bit. It's kind of like how in a quicker moving class, you're looking to build that fire as high as it goes, and then you kind of let the fire die out. But in this kind of class, it's like a slow burn. So it's like we make a small fire, and we just let the fire kind of peacefully burn at a reasonable amount, not trying to build it, not trying to have the fire go out, just trying to keep that flame burning nice and steady. Pyramid pose. Bring the fingertips down, tuck the toes under, pull the hips back in space, especially the left hip, and find a nice fold. Try to breathe deeply. Start to slowly bend into the left knee, rise up to standing, and bring the arms up with you. High onto the right toes. I know often in a lunge it feels like the front left leg is taking the responsibility. Let's let the back right leg lead the lunge even from behind. So in any lunge, we want to find this kind of uplifting energy of rising up and out. And that starts in the back leg and that travels through the rest of the body. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, bring the hands to your heart, lean forward. Warrior 3, come into the balance. Option to keep a crouch in your left knee and try to point the right toes behind you and be as strong as you can in the back right thigh. We're just here for another moment. I know this is not an easy pose to hold. Rise up into one-legged Tadasana, so drive through the left heel. Come all the way to standing with the right knee into the chest. Take a breath in. Exhale, slowly lower. Right foot down to the mat. And then as the right foot lands, immediately lower the hips into a chair pose, Utkatasana, which I believe when translated from Sanskrit means fierce pose. Start to shift the weight more to your right foot. Bring the hands to heart center. Float the left foot and drive the left foot back, Warrior 3 in a crouching position. From here, what we'll do is bring the hands down to the mat, land the left foot behind you, and then sweep the front right foot up to the sky for three-legged dog. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, take a cheetah, knee to nose. Find your knuckles on the mat. Drive the hips up to the sky. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, cheetah. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, cheetah. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, step right foot up. Top of the mat. Drop the left knee down. Arms to the sky. Find your lunge. Option to grab opposite elbows this time. I like doing something with the arms and with the hands if you haven't already realized. Of course, you can always just reach the arms up to the sky or keep the hands near the right knee. But I find that by binding the arms in some way overhead, it adds a new element to the pose. It makes it more of a full body pose. Instead of just involving the legs, we now are able to have this dialogue between upper and lower body, between left hand to right hand, right? Left to right, up to down. We're able to find this cross diagonal reference. So maybe you can even feel the left elbow and the right knee and pull them apart. And then maybe you can feel the right elbow and the left knee and pull them apart. And all of a sudden, you're occupying more of a spherical space. And those shifts that you might have found may be more energetic than physical, and that's okay. Release the pose, bring the fingertips down to the mat, tuck the toes behind you, pull hips back in space, pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Maybe you find a little more depth or just a little bit more comfort when compared to the first round. Bend into the right knee. Reach the arms up to the sky, high crescent lunge. Bring the hands to heart center. Begin to lean forward, warrior three. I know the legs can start to almost burn a little bit when we hold these postures for a few breaths each, but we'll try to sit in that discomfort and try to find ease with our breath. Rise up to standing and pull the left knee into the chest with you. This time, a little challenge, try to kick and straighten your left leg forward for 3, for 2. On 1, slowly lower. Left foot down, chair pose. Once the left foot lands, sit low in the hips. Add the arms in as you wish. And then bring hands to your heart. Shift the weight to your left foot. Float the right foot by 1 inch and then shoot the right foot back into a crouching warrior 3. Bring your hands down to the mat and then land the right foot behind you. Sweep the left foot up to the sky. 3-legged downward facing dog. Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take an inhale. Exhale, left knee to nose. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Try to move slowly. Exhale, knee to nose, hips to the sky. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Last one, knee to nose. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot through, top of the mat. Let the arms relax as you drop the right knee. And find an optional bind with your arms. Try to get the opposite forearm on top if you're going for grabbing your elbows. Anytime we do one of these binds, it's nice to try to do it the opposite way from before. One of my teachers, Naveen Mishan, likes to say that if you always brush your teeth with your right hand, try with your left. If you always do things this way, do it that way. If you always go slow, move faster. If you always go fast, go slower. If you always practice for 90 minutes, maybe try a shorter practice, 30 minutes. If you always practice for 10 minutes, maybe try sitting in it for 90. Right? We can, instead of kind of deepening the grooves that we already have in our body and in our mind, by doing something new or something differently with mindfulness, we can actually kind of expand the understanding that we have of ourselves and the understanding that we have between ourselves and our practice. Bring the fingertips down to the mat, pyramid pose, tuck the right toes under, hips pull back in space. Option to crawl the fingertips out in front of you and embrace the fold. Light in the hands, strong in the legs. High crescent pose, bend into the left knee, sweep the arms up to the sky. Find the moment. And then bring the moment to you. Hands to heart center, lean out, warrior 3. Float into the balance. Just one more full breath here. One-legged Tadasana, rise all the way to stand with the right knee pulling into the chest, sweep the arms up to the sky. And then from here, push the right foot forward, kick it through for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the right foot down, and then sit the hips into Utkatasana, chair pose. From your chair pose, shift the weight a little bit more to your left foot, to the right foot. Float the left knee into the chest. And then shoot the left leg back. As you shoot the left leg back, slowly bring the fingertips down to the mat. Land the left foot behind you and sweep the front right foot up to the sky. 3-legged dog, right foot in the sky. Take an inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. We're preparing for our final round. Inhale, three-legged dog. Build the core strength. Exhale, knee to nose, hips up to the sky. Last one, inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, hips to the sky. This time, inhale, three-legged dog. And then step all the way through and find your lunge. Last time here for the day. Arms up to the sky. Do whatever you like with the arms. Option for Kali Mudra, the steeple grip. Bind all of your fingertips except for thumb and first finger and use that to open. Release, pyramid pose, hands or no hands. Feel the sensation in your body. It's the whole point of moving a little bit slower like this. Bend into the right knee, rise up to stand, high crescent position. Bring the hands to heart center, lean out, warrior three. I'm not cueing you with the breath, so make sure to maintain your own pace of stable, fluid inhales and exhales. Bring the left knee into the chest as you stand up all the way, and then try out a challenge by kicking the left foot through to the space in front of you for 3, 2, on 1, slowly lower the left foot. Once the left foot lands, sit the hips low and take your chair pose. From your chair pose, shift the weight slightly over to the left foot, float the right foot up off of the ground, and then shoot the right leg back, take your warrior three. From warrior three, fingertips reach down to the ground, right foot lands to the space behind you, and then the left foot sweeps up to the sky for a three-legged dog. From here we have 3 cheetahs, so inhale, exhale, bring it in. Inhale, lift up and back. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, lift up and back. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, lift up and back. Exhale, step through. And then slow it down. Last lunge on this side. Drop the right knee down, arms up. Opportunity for Kali Mudra, interlacing. And try to get your opposite hand in front in your Kali Mudra. So previously I had my left pinky finger in front, and this time I have my right pinky finger in front. And it changes the whole experience. At least for me, when I change which thumb or which arm is on top in a bind, it changes the whole feel. It feels like I'm writing with my left hand instead of my right. And that's the whole point. That's the whole idea. Release here and make your way toward pyramid pose. Left hip pulls back. High crescent, bend into the left knee. Arms sweep to the sky. Hands to heart center, lean out. Create your balance, warrior three. Right knee will pull all the way up into the chest. One-legged Tadasana. Prepare for your hip flexor challenge. Straighten the right leg, kick it out for 3, 2. On 1, lower down, and once you do lower down, take chair pose, Utkata. Utkatasana, that is. This time, shift the weight a little bit more over to the left foot. Float the right foot, shoot the right leg back. Bring the hands to the ground, and step to plank pose this time. From plank pose, stay here for 10. Push the ground away for 9. Feel your knuckles on the ground for 8. Engage the thigh muscles in your legs for 5. Skipped a few that time, I got you. Engage the core for 4. Protract the shoulder blades, so push up through the space in between your shoulder blades for 3. Feel the heels driving back in space for 2. And then on 1, drop the knees down. Nuzzle the hips back to child's pose, Balasana. Settle in. Take about 3 or 4 more breaths. Continue to ground down like you're bowing to your highest self. From child's pose, begin to lengthen yourself out to prepare to lay on the belly for Sphinx pose. All right, so for Sphinx pose, I'm going to try to make sure I don't lay on my microphone. For Sphinx pose, the toes are pointing behind us. It's important to make sure that your elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. And then you find a little push through the ground to drop the shoulders away from the ears. And then you find this subtle energy of pulling the elbows back and then pulling the ribs through the elbows. So it's like we're pulling the chest through the gate of the shoulders. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's like you're broadening your collarbones. And you should find a nice back-bending sensation here, especially since we didn't do any upward-facing dog today. This is your opportunity to kind of sit in a slower, more stable version of your upward-facing dog. If you like to roll your neck around here, you can find some head and neck stretches. But I find Sphinx pose to be a nice place to just hold with good posture as a gentle, mindful back bend. So let's take a few more breaths here. From here, we will eventually go to a seated position. So on the way, you're welcome to take another balasana, child's pose. And what might actually feel nice after the Sphinx pose is to kind of lift up and take the version of balasana called embryo pose with your knees together and then fold forward with your arms behind you, palms facing up. And then we'll simply rise up to sit on our shins. And if there's any other way in which you prefer to sit, then please feel free to sit in that way. Simple side body stretch, and if you want to sit on a block, you always can. Reach the right fingertips over to the side, sweep the left arm over, side body stretch. What I like to do is wave up and down, roll the shoulder open and close. I like to explore. Because to me, there's not just one line of tension in the side body comprises a whole region of the body. So by taking these more sweeping movements, I find an ability to distribute the sensation across different regions of my torso. But all that matters is that you're stretching your side body right now. Hopefully that felt nice. Switch sides. For me, that means now the left hand comes down and the right arm opens. And usually I like to stay on the fingertips because that makes me feel a little bit more nimble. Go ahead and let this go when you feel complete. Sit up tall. Place your hands on your thighs. Lift your gaze or close your eyes here, but just kind of lift the chin up, lift the top of your head up. Take an inhale. Sip in a little bit more air. Open the mouth, H-A, ha. 3 more times, inhale. Sip in more air. Pause. Open mouth, let something go. Inhale. Inhale to the top, sip more in. Pause, feel the expansion, and then let it all go. Last one, inhale. Sip in more. Hold at the top. Let it go. My friends, that is where we will conclude today's practice. If you have the space or the time, you could always move into Shavasana laying on your mat. You could take some more stretches, or you could move forward and do another practice, or just go throughout your day. I hope you enjoyed this practice. I hope you felt strong and calm as you went through this flow. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this or what else that you would like to see from us here at Daily Sadhana. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Until next time, stay peaceful out there, and I can't wait to see you again soon.